Welcome everyone to Recovery. This is the first episode. My name is Alain and I'm the co-founder of Frontdoor. I'm really excited about this episode. This is the first one, and I'm doing it with my friend, Mark Choey. Mark, how are you doing today?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really delighted to have you on today.
I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So a little bit of background on Mark. For those who don't know, so Mark founded a real estate company called Climb back in 2009. So this was, to me, at least one of the most innovative and really most dynamic real estate companies in San Francisco.
To me too.
I bet. And his company was actually acquired, I think, 2 or 3 years ago by NRT, which is obviously the country's largest residential real estate brokerage. And today, Mark is now working on his new company called High Note, which is an incredible company that I had the opportunity to see really early on, which is a powerful tool that helps agents deliver impactful offers, but also close more deals, listings, and buyers. This is just a fascinating tool, and I definitely encourage you guys to go check it out. It's highnote.io. I'm going to put the link down in the description afterwards. So Mark, thanks again for making the time for us today.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Good to see you, my friend.
Absolutely. Let's get going. So Mark, the first question that I really wanted to ask you here is, since we are all being quarantined here, can you describe, and if possible, just walk us through your quote unquote typical workday during this crisis?
Oh my God. Started out with a very boring question for me. It's crazy. We've launched our product earlier this year. And so I'm busy selling. We're busy selling the product, managing, building it. I have a sales team and a marketing team and a development team. So it's a lot of calls, a lot of meetings, a lot of Zoom. I spend more time with Zoom than my family. It's a shame. But I wake up. I kind of it depends on the night. If I watch a movie late night, like I did last night, I watched the Facebook for the fifth time. I didn't go to bed till 2, so I got up at 7 something. But I've been, getting up at 6ish. I get some work in, and it's an all-day list of calls, 8 Zoom calls, and I'll take a break for lunch, hang out with the family, and then stop right at 4:30. And then 4:30 is when I spend time with the kids and family, and then dinner and resting, and 8 o'clock go watch the TV, maybe go back to work. Then go, or maybe watch the TV, binge something, and then repeat. Now I'm in the middle, but it's been crazy. Zoom, it's been interesting. This coronavirus has been good and bad. Bad because you can't see anyone personally, and you don't have a normal life, and a lot of stores are closed. The economy's depressed. There's a lot of uncertainty. People are losing their jobs. You have a lot of civic unrest as a result. But as far as demoing and selling and meeting people, it's become easier.
Absolutely.
You don't need to drive anywhere. You have no choice. People are home. They're nowhere else.
Absolutely.
They're not in. They're in less meetings in a way because you don't have a lot of inner office meetings. So
that's true.
People are more reachable, but you're limited. You have this Zoom or Google interface.
Exactly.
So you got to roll with the punches. This is the hand you're dealt right now, and this is what you got to do. So
absolutely. I think that's
my boring day.
That's actually fascinating. It's not that boring at all. And I think that you're definitely touching on one of our next question, which is something that I really wanted to have your take on, since, as you said, this is some kind of a new normal for all of us as we're trying to figure out what's next and how we see measures being alleviated around this coronavirus, but we don't know when we're going to be able just to resume work as we know it to be. So the second question that I really wanted to ask you is, what's the one thing you think that has been overlooked that just COVID accelerated as an undeniable demand in our industry? What's the one thing you see that we thought it was just some kind of a mundane, but just being in this crisis just accelerated that demand? What is that thing that you think it is for you?
Wow. So wait, repeat the question. So go ahead, say it again.
So what's the one thing that was overlooked that COVID accelerated as an undeniable demand for you in our industry? One thing that has been overlooked. Yeah.
Well, I'm not 100% sure if I'm answering your question correctly, but I think I think people overestimated how much they need to be in an office, right? With their colleagues, every day. Obviously there's a need, right? There's a big need. There's nothing that can replace face-to-face meetings and connection. We're all human beings. So, however, not being there, I think some ways makes you more productive at your job, at least at your work, right? When you have to work, it makes you much more productive. You don't have the time wasting meetings that are so easy to happen.
Absolutely.
The inner office personal conflicts that sometimes can happen. The politics, the politics that will result and that inevitably result in a big company or any size company. The commute.
The commute. I was going to say, don't forget about the commute.
The commute is, you save at least an hour or more. 2 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Just getting in your car, driving, parking. That's 2 hours a day.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's 16 hours a week.
God.
10 hours a week. Sorry, I can't do that. And then that's minimum, right? And then you have to get ready for work.
Absolutely.
Dressing, showering, everything else. And then you have to do meals. And I think the meals are easier at home. So as far as a productivity perspective, and if you need to just jam and get work done, I don't know why you need to be in an office every day, right? So I think now, of course, if your job is more social meeting, a lot of FaceTime, then that's a problem. But I think we've overestimated how much space we need and how much you need to be in a city center. I hate to say this, but I see my city, San Francisco and New York, where I'm from originally, deconstructing in front of our eyes. I think people are overthinking or rethinking the density and proximity and the pros and cons of that. Now they're thinking the cons. There's a lot of pros, but I was just in the city last night, San Francisco, and wow, it is a ghost town.
A ghost town, yeah, I bet.
And parts of it, like where tech has set up. So South Beach, boarded up shops as far as the eye can see, graffiti.
Oh my God.
A lot of homelessness as usual.
As usual.
Now it's unchecked. It's kind of unchecked a little bit. And then you just don't have life. There's no life. There's really no life on the streets in terms of normal life.
Absolutely.
There's, of course, life, but not the way it used to be. And you don't have the exciting retail, the exciting restaurants, the bars. You don't see that anymore. And
Absolutely.
It's terrible time. But so I will say the one thing that it's the opposite of your question, I think, but we overestimated how much we needed to be at an office.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense, especially when you think about a city like San Francisco. Like, it is just one of the most vibrant city pretty much in the world. So you going there yesterday and saying that it looked like the ghost town, like you can't even imagine it. Because it is always so bustling, always something happening. So that's definitely something that we didn't anticipate.
Absolutely, it's crazy. Yeah,
absolutely. So in my introduction, Mark, I was talking about the fact that, you created co-founded Climb in 2008, 2009, which was literally in the midst of one of the biggest recession we have seen for a very, very long time, for decades at least. So I really wanted for you, if that was okay, to just kind of spend a little bit of time there, because I know that people are actually starting to launch companies right now, or they were looking to launch company right now in the middle of a crisis. So maybe they feel a little bit discouraged, or maybe they thought, maybe I should just wait and do it once this coronavirus clear out, even if we don't know when this actually is going to happen. So can you maybe touch on and talk a little bit about how you created Climb really in the depths of the reception, and just can you speak a little bit about it? Like, how was it to build a company in a crisis, pretty much?
Oh, wow. Taking me back. So the financial crisis hit right around that time, I think 2009. I kind of remember it crashing in the summer of that time.
Okay.
But then we decided to come out in 2010, right?
Okay.
As an independent brokerage.
Exactly.
And, we thought, okay, everyone's scaling back.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense to do the opposite of that in a way? And, if we spend $1 on rent, we're going to get, 50% more. Or
Absolutely.
if we spend $1 on marketing, marketing's not only cheaper, but also our competitors have dialed back.
True.
So you got to look at it like, okay, what is the competition doing and how are we going to position ourselves relative to them?
Yeah.
And if everyone's pulling back, well, to me, it seemed like a great way to accelerate. And
I love it.
You need to double down during these times. And I always use that phrase. I've given this sort of advice a lot of times. And my personal agent business, I did the same. Trulia was the big lead spend, ad lead spend back then. And, I went from 1,000 a month to 2,000 a month. Then I eventually said, wow, this works. Well, something works. Why aren't you, doing more of it? Right. Yeah. So then I would do 4,000 and then I would, get the gumption or the courage to challenge myself and really push myself. So I did 8,000 a month. So back then in 2010, we were one of the top spending teams or agents, myself personally in the country. Yeah. Okay. And that has, I can't tell you the opportunities that has given me over the years by ramping up my marketing to the maximum as much as I could. Okay. And I'll tell you a funny story. What happened was I spent so much money at Trulia marketing and it was kind of deliberate because Trulia's headquarters were in Soma. Yeah. It was in South of Market. And so I said, wow, if I buy a lot of marketing here, I'm going to be exposing myself to the Trulia employees as well. And something could come out of that. So what happened was the marketing team at Trulia started using my face inside the company for, product designs, for mock-ups, for whatever new, proposal they had for a product. Yeah, and my face was plastered everywhere inside Trulia. And then from that, I got the opportunity to be invited to the Trulia advisory board. I got to meet Pete Flint. I got to be part of the Zillow advisory board. Okay. A lot of doors open for me there. And I'd be like literally a celebrity at Trulia. I'd walk around and then someone on the street would pull me over and say, hey, you're Mark Choey. I used to work at Trulia. You don't know me, but I used to work at Trulia and you're like famous in there. You're like, everywhere. My God. That's awesome. You just don't know. You really don't know where things are going to take you. Absolutely. But I do know this, that if you double down and increase marketing spend, especially if you're in a sales business, right? You need to get yourself out there. This is the time to do it. When everyone is retreating and panicking and taking a step back, this is when you need to ramp up. Absolutely. It's the perfect time. You have to be contrarian. So I have to, I would love to say it's easy for me to do that all the time. I have to constantly remind myself to do that because it is a scary time. Absolutely. It's a total scary time, right? Absolutely. We don't know where this thing's going to end. Yeah. And there isn't an end in sight, which is the other scary thing. So, but you need to, if you say to yourself, answer this question for yourself. If you are going to be a real estate agent or brokerage owner for the next 5 to 10 years. 10 years, yeah. Why are you not investing in your business? You need to look at it that way. That's a great question. If you're not going to be, then you should leave now. Absolutely. Right? But if you're like in it for 2 years, 3 years, I'll just give it a shot. Yeah. Forget it. Then you really need to get out now, right? Because it's going to be very hard. It's going to be harder before it's easier. But if you committed to yourself that this is your career, this is what you're going to do, you need to double down now. I agree. Double down now. Whatever it is, get that website. build it really great.
Absolutely.
You know, set up your listing presentations and your marketing. Find those software tools to allow you to pitch remotely to sell it. You know, figure out your tech, work on your CRM, increase your social media, figure something out so that when the dust settles, you're rising out of that dust like a phoenix.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love it.
Everyone's in the same boat. So you really just gotta go for it, right? You can't, life's too short to not, right?
Absolutely.
So anyway.
I love it because, and you actually did a presentation, I think, for RESAS a couple of weeks ago, and you touched on the importance of making sure that you are doing something that you're really the best at. And you talked about this district in San Francisco where you guys you were it. Like everything that's happening inside of that district, you guys pretty much just owned it. And I think it's important, especially when you talk about spending marketing dollar, to really know like what are you really investing in? What are your core strengths? What is the one thing that you are doing that literally no one is doing the way you're doing it? So I think this is definitely important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the other thing I spoke about at RESAS, and that was I love RESAS and those agents that were there. They were all, you know, looking for advice on what to do in this time. And it's true. You need to first figure out, you know, what it is you're going to be shining at, right? Are you, you know, like, what is your thing? Like, how are you going to stand out from other people? And maybe you don't need to stand out, but if you want to be great, you know, you need to kind of, you have to pick something, and you need to keep asking yourself, is this like, okay, I'm going to be, you know, this type of agent in this neighborhood. And that's my thing. Well, are there other agents that are going to be better than you in that neighborhood? So, okay, if there are, like, maybe there's an agent that's a veteran, 20-year veteran in a neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Well, and she has all the sales, and, you know, she's maybe sold 25% of the market there. But how can you position yourself, you know, apart from that person? Now, is that person at a older franchise, maybe an older company like Coldwell Banker, a traditional one? Or are they Sotheby's? You know, if they are, then you need to kind of go a different route. You need to maybe be an indie broker or an indie agent, a younger target, you know, or maybe are you going to be the condo king in an area, right? And great, but you can't be a condo king everywhere. You need to pick something.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and very often these buildings, if you're in a city, they're quite big, and you can make a career out of one building.
Absolutely.
You know, especially if it's like a 150 to 200 units, you can easily make a career out of that building. So, and I would just focus on that one building then. Okay, I am the king of, you know, whatever condo, like the Empire State Building. I mean, and that's all you sell.
That's all you sell. Exactly.
And that's what I did. You know, I took one building in the city, and I just gave up everything else. I said, I'm going to focus all my efforts on this one building. And it was 650 units.
Wow.
And I owned, you know, I sold maybe, I think I calculated like 40% of the sales in that building.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
You know, I made a career out of that. But what I did was anything outside of that building, I built a team around.
Got it.
So I found specialists, you know, for every area, and agents to take on the business outside of that building. Because for several reasons, I didn't want to commute. I didn't want to drive anywhere. I moved into the building and lived there. So for me to do it.
That part of the story is just incredible to me, that you actually moved into the building.
Oh, you have to.
And you worked. I mean, it's just incredible.
You have to. If you're going to be, where are you right now, Alain? Paris?
I'm in Paris. Yeah, I'm in Paris right now.
If you're going to be a real estate agent in Paris, you need to live in Paris. You can't be,
exactly.
Right? Now, it's obvious. But if you're selling one neighborhood in Paris, you need to be, and you're going to be a specialist there, but you don't live there.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me. You need
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Right? If you're gonna, you know, you need to let's say you make a software tool, but if you yourself don't use it, or you're not a computer person, well, that
I
doesn't seem to
agree.
make a lot of sense. So,
I agree.
so I moved into that building and I lived there, and for several reasons. One, we liked the building. Two,
Yeah.
you need to fish. You need to fish where you live or hunt.
There's no better way.
No better way. And I literally would make deals happen, throwing out the
Okay.
trash, or going to the gym, or
That's
picking up my
incredible.
mail, or getting my packages. I would see people, hey, how's the market doing, Mark? Oh yeah, and then, oh yeah, I'm thinking about selling my unit. Why don't you come take a look? Oh, great.
Wow.
Let me finish throwing this trash out, and I'll be right over.
That's just
and
awesome.
so, you just gotta figure out all these angles to meet people and to dominate an area. And if you live in an area, wow, the serendipitous moments and the random
incredible.
meetings and the chance encounters is what's going to drive. It's going to drive maybe at least 25% of my business or your business.
Wow.
So, and then the other thing is when you go for a listing presentation, they tend to go with you because you live there.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're like, wow, they
know you.
They know, well, no, but they think about it like, well, what better agent to sell this than the person who lives here?
Exactly.
So
makes sense.
they
that
know
makes
it
a lot
best.
Of sense.
They can do the showings easier. They know everything about it, and they can sell to
That's
them.
awesome.
So, you got to own it. You pick something and you got to own it. Now,
absolutely.
So you got to find what that is, and you got to make sure though that the niche is not too small.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make sure that
I work with first-time buyers in San Francisco in this square block. You gotta be realistic about what it is.
Absolutely.
But you have to find something. Find what you are and own it.
Absolutely.
Find what you are and own it.
That is really awesome because you just became the point guard, the main point of contact into that entire building when it comes to housing. That's just incredible.
And then I ended up growing a company out of it, Climb.
Awesome.
We owned the area. And then I became the number 2 real estate agent in the city, condo agent.
Yep.
And then I could never beat number 1. But he was, he was way ahead. But I was number 2, and I'll take that any day. I'll take that any day.
And I think the outcome is fantastic too. So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you bypass other business, it allows you to focus. That's the hardest thing for agents. Like,
absolutely.
Can I take this listing? It's kind of out of my comfort zone. I mean, not out of my area.
Yeah.
And I will probably never sell another unit in that area again. Right.
Absolutely.
So, but then I asked myself, why would you take that then? Even if it was a big listing, well, it depends how big, but you can't be chasing commissions. You need to really think about, does this fit your business? Does this fit your business? But me being able to forego all those opportunities allowed me to spend more time in the area I was focused in, and allowed me to become number 1 in my area, and which attracted more business. And once it attracts more business, then I cement the position. That's awesome. Everyone wants to work with number 1. Nobody
wants to work with number 2. That is for sure. That is that I agree with you. I think you said that. And even I really love the level of focus there, because sometimes, and especially even in technology, to give you an example, you tend to want to do everything, which is at the end of the day you end up doing just nothing. And it's just better to focus on one aspect and just be the greatest at it. And as you said, if you do that greatly, people would just, will start coming to you and using you as an agent. You will even maybe get referrals and things like that.
Oh yeah, so, it always happens. So
for full disclosure, the advice you just heard from Mark is the exact same advice that you just gave me like maybe a week ago. The same advice, exactly the same. Just do one thing and be great at.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's great to be great at many things, but it's just not possible, right? You can't, unless you're gifted in so many different areas. And, you need to, if you're like me, an average person, right? And with some skills,
you can say that.
You need to kind of, subdivide.
Yeah.
And draw a Venn diagram, it's like for the people. let me see if I can draw something, but you got to kind of figure out that intersection of what you're gonna focus on.
Yeah.
And just keep drawing that Venn diagram into your number one.
Yeah, like
keep drawing circles, keep drawing these
I
circles.
remember that.
Okay, this is real estate. This is San Francisco.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you number one? Can you be number one in this intersection? Probably not. So then draw another circle. Okay. Yeah. Can you be number one at that circle? No, maybe not. Then maybe draw another one. Yeah. So, we were the urban brand, the tech savvy brand, the one that catered to younger folks.
I love
it. In a condo area in San Francisco, and you just got to own it.
Absolutely.
You're not going to beat number one is the problem.
And it worked. It worked in terms of marketing too, because that's pretty much how I heard about you guys. So I was relocating to San Francisco, and my co-founder and I, who's now became my wife, were looking for a place. So we wanted to live downtown San Francisco. So you guys were just, whenever you were looking for in that area, Climb was the brokerage that would just be out there. So it works, and it was appealing to us as millennials. So we just thought, okay, we love what you guys were doing. So it definitely works in terms of marketing to know like what are your strengths and where you should be focusing on that. I think that's definitely key.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So maybe to follow up on that, but I think you already touched on, but just maybe you have one more caveat. I think that the question that I would like to ask you here is, so going through that and now building high notes, also in the middle of a crisis, which is a different one. But what type of lessons you think, Mark, that you have learned that you could share with some of our viewers today, whether it's building Climb in the middle of that recession in 2008, 2009, whether it's now growing high note with literally not being able to, go outside and just do it the way you were supposed to do it. Like what type of lesson you are learning as you build
high note is interesting because it is perfect for this environment. It's a digital communication tool for real estate. And the biggest use case that has come out is winning presentations. So winning sales through using high note, and winning listings, winning buyers over, or winning offers. And so those are the main use cases. And agents they can't see their sellers as frequently as before, and they're doing listing presentations via Zoom call. They can't sit with them and show them the presentation binder that they printed out and have professionally done. And they can't give them that thing in person anymore, or as much as they used to. So we're finding a huge uptick in digital solutions. And things that allow agents to differentiate themselves. And that's what High Note does. It's highnote.io. But it's essentially a tool that helps you win more business remotely. So it is it's been fortuitous, and you just need to take the good with the bad, and with every crisis there's opportunity.
Absolutely.
And that's it's obviously a very often used saying. But it's true, it's true. It's timing's everything. And this is bad timing on certain fronts, but you know what? It's good timing on other fronts. And you need to adapt and look at the positives and really just power through. You have to find a way to keep going. But it's been extremely positive for us.
That's awesome.
We're growing like leaps and bounds. A lot of agents are coming to us, brokerages, and it's been very positive for us. So I just think, but I could have easily gone the other way. I could have said, "Oh my God, the real estate industry is
slowing down,"
or "Oh my God, these agents are uncertain about their incomes." oh my God, brokerages are, not making, they're not making the profits like they used to.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But you need to find out where it's good and who it's good for.
Absolutely.
And so it's good for those agents that need digital solutions to reach their sellers and buyers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to swim that direction. And so you just need to adapt. You need to adapt and find a way. Because there always is a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always is a way.
I agree. I agree with that one.
Yeah, you need to find it. You just need to find it. Because if other people give up, well, great. If you didn't, right? If you didn't, the chance of you succeeding or relatively succeeding goes up.
You just multiply that.
You just really, you've increased your chances of success.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you said it. I think you said you talked about this word that I know that we really don't like, which is to adapt. People are so accustomed to just doing the same thing over and over. So change, it's always the hardest for everyone out there. And I think that just having the ability to adapt as an agent, as a broker, as a business, as a person. I mean, if you can't adapt, I can guarantee you will die. Not literally, but you will just die as a business, because you have to, as you say, figure out where should I go next? Like, where is my opportunity? And I love what you said actually about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I did a master's in electrical engineering, and what I studied was neural networks and in artificial intelligence. And neural nets are funny. Neural nets are very popular now for many artificial intelligence problem solving things. They're in everything. They're in your phone. They read your email. They predict things.
Absolutely.
The thing is that neural nets can be too strong. They can memorize things. So you can give them very noisy data or data that's not precise, and neural nets will find a pattern in it. And so what it does is it brings you to these solutions sometimes that are not optimal. So they're local minimum and local minimum solutions. And or in human terms, everyday terms, they're called ruts, right? You are stuck in some kind of rut because you're trying to do your best and find the best situation for your current situation or your current environment. True. And so, but you get stuck in everyone gets stuck in ruts. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get stuck in ruts all the time.
I get stuck in ruts all the time. I mean,
and you need to vary it up. You need to mix it up. You need to jump out of your area, get out of your fishbowl.
Absolutely.
Go check out another fishbowl. You're going to learn something from someone. So you need to find a way to not be stuck in a local minimum.
Yeah.
In a neural net, and so that you spend all this time training the neural net to learn something, but it actually finds a solution that's not the best solution.
Oh wow.
And then so you spend all your time and techniques to try to get it out of these local minimums. And so it's really like about, and it was a big lesson for me when I did neural nets. I'm like, wow, this kind of like applies to life a little bit. You're jumping between ruts in life.
That's exactly what we do.
And so, those that can jump out of ruts and into other things and finding a better solution or finding a new way are going to be successful. And so you need to mix it up. And it's learn something new, read a different book, watch a different type of movie, watch a different series, do some new hobby, meet some other friends that you normally wouldn't see. Get different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives. That's what I'm going to say.
Different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
I forgot how we got on that topic, but
no, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's all about, you got to find a way. If you can't find a way, then figure something out. Try to get some help.
Absolutely.
I used a coach for a long time, and I still do. I'm meeting him tomorrow, actually. And,
oh wow.
That's
awesome.
These coaches, they help you see what are the blind spots you're missing.
Yeah, that is so key.
Yeah, and it's completely key. You need that. So
absolutely,
get out of your rut.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. And just to finish on the point you touched on, as it pertains to really knowing what you're doing and what you're good at. you said this thing. I think it's on High Note website, which I just loved. You said something about that High Note is not for everyone, right? So it's for those guys who really just want to get to that next level. And I just love that. And there again, you can already see the segmentation, and you can just see the clarity as it pertains to, okay, what I'm building, it's not for every agent. It's just for those guys who want to, get to that next level.
Yeah,
and I think, and I love it. Again, it's just knowing who you are and what you're doing once more.
Yes,
So,
yes, and
that's cool.
it's you gotta. It's not for everyone. It's for those that are aggressively looking to get to the next level.
Absolutely.
And want to constantly improve their game.
Absolutely.
And they want to really, really grow, take their business to another level, be a top producer or stay a top producer.
Absolutely.
So it's not going to be for everyone, right? It's just not going to be. Other agents won't necessarily take the time to do those things, or maybe they're set in what they're doing. And so it's not going to be right for those agents, but it's right for those agents that really want to elevate their business.
Makes sense.
That's who High Note is for.
That's awesome. So, that's just awesome. I'm happy that we got to talk a little bit about it.
Exactly.
So my last question for you, Mark, will be, so I know personally what are your plans are, because I get to have the honor of knowing you and working with you, so I know where you're going. But can you share a little bit, if that's okay, what are some of your personal or business plans over the next 6 months, since we're still pretty much quarantined, and what's in the works for you? Are you planning any vacations coming soon, or what's happening over the next 6 months?
Oh yeah, it's my wife's 50th birthday.
Oh wow!
Coming up,
That's
and
awesome.
as well as mine.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we both turned 50 the same year.
What's the date?
I turned 50 October 1st.
Oh
and
wow! Okay.
My wife is sooner, but
wow.
So I kind of, we got to figure out something meaningful for our 50th, and so we have a trip plan.
I agree.
That's awesome. In planning,
okay.
And taking a nice trip. So take some time, celebrate with the family, I think is
awesome.
Really, really key. But for your 50th as well.
Is it something planned for? Are you guys coming back in Europe, or are you going?
No, we're not going to be getting inside anything. No flying metal boxes. No.
I can understand that. I can understand that. I cannot judge you of that for sure.
It's a tough time to travel. So
but
we're gonna go do something local. Maybe
awesome.
We're thinking about renting a house in LA and going to spend some time on the beachfront.
That could be awesome.
Where we're happiest. We like warm weather. We like the wet. We like
absolutely.
We like the beach lifestyle. So we're gonna do
absolutely. You make sense.
Get out of San Francisco area.
Absolutely.
Mix it up, because we're in a rut. I tell you right now, we're in a rut.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's exciting. High Note is growing. So my job is to take it to the next level.
That is awesome.
And so we are raising a round of funding.
Yeah.
And in the middle of one, and it's doing
that's
great.
Exciting. That must be daunting and exciting at the same time.
It's daunting and exciting, and I just know we're gonna make it happen. So
absolutely,
we're being very successful.
That's great.
And we're growing. So I gotta hire. I gotta build a great product. We have a big vision for awesome. High Note to being a new communications platform for buyers, sellers, and real estate agents.
That is
and
awesome.
Get out of email. Right? Take our lives out of email. Everyone hates email.
Everyone hates emails. Too much
of it. And
absolutely.
You spend all your time managing email. And
the
funny thing is about email, I read this best. The email is a to-do list.
Absolutely.
Created by others.
That is so profound, and at the same time, it's so true.
It is not your to-do list. It is what someone has asked you to do.
Actually.
Right?
Makes sense.
And
absolutely.
they're either trying to sell you to buy something, they're trying to get your attention to come to their website to read, or they're asking you for something to do something. And
absolutely.
They're not offering their help. right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, how can I help you? You know, it's always a request to do something. That's nothing
To
wrong
do
with
something.
that.
Yeah.
However, think about that. You know, you're going through, I mean, I don't know about you, but there's hundreds and hundreds of emails,
exactly.
and literally 300 a day.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to go through that and get through your regular work life? Now, some of it's work, but a lot of it's not.
Absolutely.
I could literally ignore my inbox.
And nothing, pretty much.
I mean, you know,
what happened?
The problem is with a couple important ones, but 90% of it is
absolutely
not something you need to
solicitations and
so it's
do
an
this for
inbox
me
created by others, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry, it's your to-do list created by others, and
absolutely.
I hate it. So anyway, real estate needs they're part of the reason in our thesis as to why real estate's so broken.
Yeah.
And such a difficult job, and so expensive, and so many
true,
you know, agents, and so fragmented, is because there isn't really a good way or platform to actually transact the business of real estate.
I agree.
So
I agree.
You know, we built this communication platform, and agents are loving it.
And it is amazing. It is really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah. So we're taking it to the next level and iterating on that vision. So we have
That's awesome.
And doing it in the middle of a pandemic, right? and a growing a global recession once again.
Exactly. I think this is. I'm going. If you do it, you're just starting this second company, but I know you. I think you're gonna definitely do something for the third time. And if you do it again in a crisis, this is a pattern there already, Mark. I mean,
this is funny. This is my. Okay. I'll tell you a story. This is my third major company, and the first one is very familiar. We were building the early version of TripAdvisor.
Oh wow!
And TripAdvisor is a site where you can. It's really a site for advice about traveling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you could also book things off of. And so we thought, hey, why don't we combine, you know, I used to like to travel, and then I used to like to brag about it by building a website and showing pictures and where I went. And then we're like, ooh, Mark, you're so cool. You went to Thailand and you did all this stuff. And then I would post all these pictures about it. And then I'm like, wow, we should create a tool for this, you know, for agents. I'm not agents, for travelers to build travel stories.
Yeah.
And so we call them travel logs, right? And so build a content site around travel stories, but then have a travel agency off the back end.
Wow,
so, you know, it was a very early version of TripAdvisor. And we were raising our Series A the week when NASDAQ crashed.
No way.
In 2001. I think it was.
Wow. Oh wow! Yeah, that couldn't be a worse timing.
So it crashed during that time.
Wow!
During that first week, we were raising our Series A, and we decided to pack it up at that moment.
Oh my God!
Because there was no point at that time. But
so this is actually the third time.
This is at least the third time.
So there is definitely so there it is. We have a pattern. We have a pattern with Mark. That's what you do.
Yeah,
that's
during
what you
crisis.
Do. You build great companies in the middle of chaos. That's what you know how to do. That's awesome.
The first one was a failure. The second one is a success. So this third one, I am sure, is going to be a success.
It's definitely going to be a success. By the look of it, I'm sure it's going to be a success. Thank you very much, Mark, for making the time today. I really, really appreciate your time. And I'm sure that people who are going to be able to listen to this, we're going to pick some caveat just as I did. I know that for a fact. So I just want to thank you for making the time today, for talking to us about High Notes, talking to us about your incredible experience at Climb. And so that's a wrap for us. Episode 1, Quarantine Edition, with my good friend Mark Choey. And so this episode, obviously, you can catch it on YouTube or all platforms streaming podcast. And remember, in the recovery, don't just find yourself at the same place, but strive to be at a better place. Thanks again, Mark, for the time. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It was
Thanks
fun.
a lot.
Good seeing you.
Absolutely.